Hello everyone, back tuning into today's second video. We're going to have a look at the weather for next week to 10 days. For today's second video, that's going to take us to around the 14th of December. So we'll be able to extend out beyond that with the extended GFS and ECM ensembles. They run to around a couple of weeks. That will get us not quite to Christmas, but starting to move towards the Christmas time frame in a couple of weeks. And we'll have a look at CFSV2 as well. That takes us pretty much to the end of December. So just say that the 5-day forecast has been released. That was the first video. I'm very late today, by the way. Sorry about that. Been out all morning picking the Christmas tree. So I am running a little bit late, but we're going to get all the videos in for you today. I can show you that. So 5-day forecast was the first video up, and that is telling us that we're going to have a change in the weather. Starting off relatively dry still and quite cold in the south today, but things already beginning to turn a bit more unsettled up in the north, and actually the next 5 days going to turn increasingly wet and windy again, more bouts of heavy rain and some strong winds too. So have a look at the 5-day forecast, see what's going on. And tonight we're going to have the 15th Christmas update. That will be with you tonight, probably around 7 o'clock. Might be a bit later than that, depending on how quickly I get it recorded and uploaded. Right, we'll begin though with centering temperature. So it has been a cold start to December. December is currently standing at 3.1, which is an anomaly of nearly 2 degrees below average. That's provisional up to the 3rd. So definitely a cold start to December and a cold start to mid-tropical winter 2019-2020. I think this will start to lift up now though. So day by day this should increase. So by the time you get through the start of next week, I imagine it will be back quite close to average. Where we go beyond that, though, remains to be seen, because next week is looking rather cool, but not particularly cold, but certainly rather cool in the CET region, and also unsettled. More about that in a moment. These are GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. We're looking at Biggin Hill today. So if you'd like to have your local town or city featured within this section of the video, then there are various ways you can let us know where you'd like to see featured. You can tell us through the comments at GazWeatherVids. You can email us at gazweathervids@gmail.com, or you can ask us via our Facebook and Twitter accounts. We're always happy to feature your local town or city within this part of the video. So the red line is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Biggin Hill, and we're starting off above average at the moment. Actually, upper air temperatures are quite mild even today, but down on the surface it's still pretty cold because the air is very still and nothing has happened to shake the air up. However, the wind's going to get up from tomorrow, and that will allow the surface temperatures to reflect the upper air temperatures then. So by the time we get through to sort of the end of the week and into the weekend, we're relatively mild. Early next week, we're going to see the temperature falling back, and second half of next week could actually go quite cold. This is like the 12th, 13th, 14th of December, and there is a cold snap that's quite clearly showing up then. Beyond that, into the second half of the month, that's that period just there, looks like temperatures begin to recover and possibly lift up, although that is very extended range stuff. Overall, this is looking pretty cool and also pretty showery and unsettled for the next week or two. So the next day or so is starting relatively dry, but you see how the precipitation spikes are increasing again. Off and running we go once more from the end of the week over the weekend into next week, into a spell of very unsettled weather. Those are large precipitation spikes. There are many of them, so it looks like we have had a respite from the deluge that we had all autumn, but it looks like very, very unsettled conditions are coming back again from the weekend and into next week. Those precipitation spikes look quite large, and they look very regular as well. So plenty of rain to come as we go through into next week, and of course that will allow the river levels to start to rise up again very, very quickly. Things have settled down a little bit with the river levels over the past few days with this high pressure, but it's not going to take much to cause them to start lifting up again. So it all looks rather worrying, and I think more so than temperatures, it is precipitation that could well be the story again as we go through into towards the middle part of December, for example. See if we can get rid of that and then start it again. So the temperature anomaly from the 4th to the 12th of December is coming out a little bit above average, actually, for the UK and for Ireland as well. Just a little bit above average with that temperature anomaly in the week ahead. Precipitation anomalies, we've got rid of the highlighter, thank goodness for that. Precipitation anomalies from the 4th to 12th of December are average to slightly above average. It's going to be turning increasingly unsettled once again. So expect these to trend wetter in the days ahead, unfortunately. That's how the GFS is looking for Saturday, under a very slight transient bump of high pressure to start Saturday, but by the end of the day we'll be into wet and windy weather, and then Sunday looks genuinely unsettled with strong to gale force westerly winds and showery outbreaks of rain. Winds shifting to the north through the early part of next week. Some slightly colder air begins to drift down from the north, but only for a while, because by Tuesday, here we go again, more wet and windy weather coming in off the Atlantic. That's Wednesday, and it looks very unsettled in a week's time. That's Thursday, this is the general election day, of course, Thursday, 12th of December. The low pressure will begin to shift over into the North Sea. Winds are swinging to the north, so it's becoming colder, probably enough for snow showers across the northern part of the country. Down in the south, I would think still mainly rain showers or longer spells of rain. But by Friday, 13th of December, the wind is properly in from the north. Cold northerly winds are digging down across the country, bringing wintry showers to particularly northern and eastern parts of the country. Not for long though, because in comes the next bout of rain on Saturday, 14th of December. This is a little bit beyond day 10, but it's turning increasingly unsettled now, or it's staying very unsettled, with low pressure being further spells of rain. We're on the cold side of the jet stream as well, and certainly for the north, on the northern side of these lows, there would be the risk of snow across the northern half of the country, more towards rain in the south. That's how we look as we end this GFS run. Very, very unsettled indeed, and quite cool. The GFS has pulled back from that cold outlook that it had yesterday. It's still pretty chilly. It's still cooler than average, I think, overall, for the next fortnight. Not as cold as it was showing yesterday. We did say, of course, that tremendous snow event that the GFS was forecasting for the end of next week, that wasn't going to verify. That was never going to verify, really. But it has rode back a little bit from that colder outlook. It's rode back a little bit today, but still generally looking quite cool, showery, and in the north, I think wintry at times. That's the GEM, so again we're looking a little bump of high pressure for Saturday, but it's quickly swept out of the way by low pressure on Sunday. Wind turns into the north on Monday, so it goes a bit cold at the start of next week before more low pressure brings gale force winds and heavy rain through the middle of next week. Second half next week looking cold and showery, certainly for the northern half of the country. There's a risk of snow on the northern edge of these areas of low pressure in the second half next week. Down in the south, probably still more towards rain. That's how we look at day 10, which is Saturday the 14th of December. Very unsettled. The onslaught goes on. We've got a deep low to south of Greenland. Got another low just here. They're all going in one direction, which is that way. So further bouts of rain, and probably from the north, some hill snow likely. ECM under a slight little bump of high pressure to start Saturday, but over the weekend is unsettled with showers or longer spells of rain. Early next week, the wind turns into the north, brings some colder air down for the beginning of next week before low pressure is back in from off the Atlantic, bringing further heavy rain. That might bring some snow to the northern part of the country through the middle of next week. But it'll be more once that gets out of the way that we open the door to those colder northwesterly to northerly winds in the second half of next week. That's Friday the 14th of December, a real northerly then, with snow showers likely in northern and northeastern parts of the country in particular, but not for long, because by day 10, which is Saturday the 14th of December, we are back into wet and windy weather as the next low rattles in from off the Atlantic. This is the precipitation forecast based on that ECM run. So we're starting off already with showery rain developing in the northwest. And as we go through tomorrow, it's going to turn very wet across the northern, western parts of the country, really wet, western Scotland, also down towards Northern Ireland too. winds freshening up elsewhere, and that takes the rain down into the south for Friday. So England Wales will start with rain on Friday before that gets out of the way, and we're left with sunshine and showers. A quieter start to Saturday, but only before the next batch of wet and windy weather sweeps in overnight Saturday and into Sunday. Sunday leaves us with showers and longer spells of rain. It could go a little bit wintry over high ground in the north. Shifting towards drier weather through the early part of next week, but a little bit of a cold snap, not for long though, because yes, the next batch of wet weather is coming in off the Atlantic. And that could turn to snow actually as it hits the cold air up across Scotland. Loads of rain in with that through the middle of next week. Properly wet and windy indeed. Into the second half of next week, that gets out of the way. We're left rather showery. Notice showers could be a bit wintry in northern and western parts of the country. And then we move up towards the end next week. This is the day of general election, of course. Snow showers in the north, mainly dry elsewhere. Those snow showers become a little bit more widespread on Friday the 13th as the wind turns into the north. And when we get to day 10, and the next area of low pressure is heading in off the Atlantic. That's bumping into the cold air, so could turn to snow across northern parts of the country. These are the options on the table within the ECM ensembles today for day 10, which is the 14th of December. We have 18 members of the ECM ensembles with low pressure sitting over to the east of the country, very unsettled and quite cool or cold, with those on the cold side of jet stream. 14 with low pressure to our west and over UK, so they're very unsettled too. Another 11 or 11 just here with low pressure in off the Atlantic. Those include the ECM control and operational run. They're going to be very, very unsettled too. And 8 with low pressure driving in to our west and also northeast, doing something like that for jet. So quite unsettled and cool with those. All roads leading to a very unsettled outlook by or for the middle of December. 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. This is the 19th of December. We have 12 members of the ECM ensembles with low pressure over the country, 11 with low pressure to the west and southwest, a little bit of high pressure developing to our north with those. 10 with low pressure over to the west of the country, 7 with a deep trough over the top of the country, 6 with low pressure in off the Atlantic, and 5 with low pressure to our southwest and building up a Scandinavian high with those 5 trying to get wind into much colder easterly. It looks very, very unsettled for the next couple of weeks, I have to say. So it's all looking rather ominous, I think, for the river levels over the next couple of weeks, with more bouts of rain likely. Finally, the CFSV2, these are 500 millibar heights broken down to week periods. The first weekly period will take us from the 4th to the 10th of December. The coming week looks very unsettled. Low pressure is to the northwest, high pressure is to the west-southwest. We're bringing in a west-northwesterly wind, turning more unsettled with time and not overly mild either. Week 2 is the 11th to the 17th of December, and it looks really unsettled. Low pressure is over to the east country, high pressure is in the middle of the Atlantic. Not only unsettled, but also quite cold as well through this middle part of December. We're on the cold side of the jet stream, and the low pressure could provide enough energy for wintry precipitation, particularly, but maybe not exclusively, in the north. Big changes again for week 3. This is the 18th of December to Christmas Eve as we build up a ridge to our east. Low pressure is out to the west. That starts to draw up much milder air from the southwest probably. It also turns a bit drier as we run up towards Christmas. And then week 4 is the 25th of December, so Christmas Day, to New Year's Eve, 31st of December, with low pressure out to the northwest, high pressure around the Azores, and a big ridge across central and northern Europe. Again, we're probably drawing up quite mild air from the southwest with that. So the CFS wants to turn us milder and potentially a little bit drier for the end of for the final sort of couple of weeks of December. But up to then, it looks quite cold and very unsettled. I don't think we worry about that at all. Going to do the 15th Christmas update tonight, so we'll see what that has to say. But coming back to the more reasonable time frame, which is the next week to 10 days. So the Atlantic is going to be unleashed again, unfortunately. We're still hanging on by our fingertips to the dry weather in the south, and it'll carry on for one more day tomorrow in the south, but in the north it turns increasingly wet tomorrow, and then after that we're back under the cosh, further spells of very wet weather driving in off the Atlantic. Strong to gale force winds at times too. Probably probably rapidly increasing risk of flooding through the course of next week. And we could see some wintry weather at times, particularly so up in the north. Although, I say, the GFS and probably the ECM as well has pulled back from that rather cold outlook that we saw yesterday. Nevertheless, it still looks pretty chilly, I think, next week. And certainly for the north, there will be the risk of snow, particularly later next week and over high ground, but not potentially exclusively so. Right, we're back with the 15th Christmas update tonight, and tomorrow we'll have another week 10-day video update for you then, but that's all for now, and thanks for watching.